Hey, welcome everybody. Good morning. Thanks all of you for making it here. I'm Danielle Buckley. I'm the lead product manager for Google+. I want to start off our session today just by acknowledging and thanking those of you in the room who already use Google+ in your organizations today. Show of hands, who already uses? Oh, that's great to see. Awesome, thank you guys. You've all shown us, through your experience, the power of Google+ to transform company culture, to unlock innovation, and to foster communications across organizational boundaries. You've all also provided us with valuable feedback on things we can do to make Google+ work even better for your organizations. Thank you. We appreciate you and everything you do, and we're looking forward to continuing to work with you. Today, we'll talk about how we're taking your feedback and building the next generation of Google+ for the enterprise. We'll spend the next hour together focused on three things. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about the ways that companies are using Google+ today to transform their company cultures. Then, for the first time ever, I'm truly excited to be able to tell you about the 2017 roadmap for Google+, what we've got planned and the features that we're going to be launching, specifically targeted at enterprises. And then finally, we'll close our session with a panel discussion and Q&A, where a few of our customers have kindly agreed to come and talk about their experiences using Google+ in their companies. Over the last few months, I've had the privilege of having a number of discussions with businesses about what's keeping them up at night. And across industries, between departments, and across geographies, there's one concern that comes up time and time again. How can I make sure that my company is delivering innovation, that we stay ahead of the curve, that we're getting the most out of our employees? In short, how can I drive innovation? At Google, we've seen that innovation happens when you bring people together. That when you break down boundaries and barriers and make it easy for people to share ideas, exciting things happen. On the Google+ team, our aim is to help you drive innovation by connecting your company, connecting your people, their ideas, their interests, their insights. This means making it easy for people to connect in different locations, to share best practices, for leadership to be able to take the company's pulse and to keep people in the loop, and for everyone at every level of your organization to stay connected and to feel like they're truly part of a team. With companies more and more dealing with teams spread out across the world, employees who spend most of their time in the field, large workforces where it's not always easy to know what's going on or who the experts are, this can really be a challenge. We believe that Google+ is uniquely positioned to help, and we hear this repeated by those of you who have already adopted Google+ in your organizations. So we hear things like this: we would never have achieved this level of communication and collaboration without Google+. Google+ breaks down the invisible walls between disparate departments and creates new connections. Google+ connects us like never before. Now we can share expertise, build relationships. This is what gets us going. This is what brings us into work every morning. This is what gets us excited. And there are three main ways that we believe Google+ can help connect your company and drive innovation: encouraging knowledge sharing, engaging employees, and facilitating secure communication. First and foremost, our job is to facilitate knowledge sharing. We do this with tools that allow teams to better communicate internally and smarts that automatically uncover untapped knowledge from across your organization. This is knowledge sharing that breaks down organizational silos and connects across geographies. Second, you know that more engaged employees produce better work output. You tell us this all the time. And Google Plus provides a really easy and scalable channel for employee engagement across your organization, letting everybody get involved. Finally, we hear loud and clear the importance of secure communication within and between teams. This is, of course, a theme that you'll be hearing throughout the week this week. With robust sharing controls and dedicated spaces for private discussions, Google Plus provides a reliable, secure, and scalable channel for your organization to communicate. With these three pillars in mind, I'm going to touch briefly on some of the most widely used features of Google Plus in the enterprise and talk a little bit about how companies are using those features today. I'll start off with what's one of the most widely used tools in Google Plus, and something that's really near and dear to my heart, which is communities. Communities in Google Plus allow groups of employees to come together in a dedicated place to talk about something specific. So those of you who are using Google Plus already probably already know this, right? Communities can be locked down to just your company. They can be locked down to just specific teams or groups of people and made private so that you can have really secure, confidential conversations in them. We've had lots of inspiring stories that come in about companies using communities to transform the way their teams and their companies work. From collaborating on a team, to allowing employees to organize social groups, to sharing customer stories. One of the most interesting customer examples that I've heard about communities comes from a global bank. So this bank was really struggling with, how do we find out about maintenance issues at our ATMs? How do we make sure that we're deploying people to go fix them? And the thing that they latched on to as a potential solution for this was, we've actually got a whole ton of branch employees who are already distributed all across the globe. What if we could leverage those employees? So what they did was they enrolled all of their branch employees into a large community, so 30,000 employees in a community, and all of them were then transformed into essentially ATM mystery shoppers. So they were able to take pictures and make posts and file complaints when they noticed issues in the field. That then allowed maintenance personnel to go out and address those issues. Problem solved. Of course, we also rely on communities at Google as well. So teams will often have communities for their own internal discussion, talk about, hey, what features should we be developing? What are you hearing from customers? How are we addressing this particular concern? Really get discussion going on specific teams. Then there's folks who serve Google broadly, right? The Google Travel team is a team that helps Googlers who are traveling around the globe to visit other offices or customers. They've got a community where anyone, any Googler, can ask a question. Hey, what do I do about customs? Or does anybody know how to get a visa to this place? I've got a surprise trip coming up. And then other Googlers are able to answer their questions really quickly. Allows for a much more scalable solution to serving their needs. One thing close to my heart, product managers also have a community where we're able to share tips and tricks and how to do our job better, right? Like, what's something that works for you? I'm having this issue. How would you guys approach it? And we're able to really easily communicate, even though product managers tend to be distributed, one in one team, one in another team, and so it can potentially be very difficult to share knowledge and best practices across that kind of a distributed group. So that's communities. Another tool we offer to facilitate knowledge sharing is what's called collections. Those of you who have used Google Plus in the past couple of years probably noticed the addition of this. Collections are individual streams, so a particular employee can create a collection about a specific topic, sort of like microblogs, and they allow folks to focus their message on a specific topic. So for example, one customer executive uses a collection to share things that he's hearing about industry trends and get them out to the whole company in a lightweight way that doesn't require him to email everybody, but in a way that facilitates sharing. At Google, we've got a developer advocate who started a collection called HGRW, how Google really works. How does Google really work? Well, he finds posts that other people are making. Here's how we do this in this part of Google. Here's how we develop product over here. Here's how we're developing these concerns. And really, by sharing this into a single collection, he's brought together a whole bunch of knowledge from across Google about what makes our culture unique. At a higher level, when you look at all of this and bring it all together, Google Plus provides a window for executives to understand employee sentiment. So one of the things that can be hard when you're in headquarters is to figure out what's really going on with my employees. How are they really feeling? So for example, you could monitor employee chatter in communities to figure out what are their real concerns, potentially highlight specific needs for improvement in your organization. Leaders can take advantage of features like polls to test ideas. We're thinking about marketing this new product. We've got a few names. What do you guys think about this? And to get a sense of employees' reactions to suggestions. For example, there was an airline who was finding it really pretty difficult to connect with their employees who are on flight crews or out in the field in operations. These folks are on the go all across the globe, really difficult to talk to all of them at once. So they set up global and regional communities where the CEO and other leaders were able to post messages that they were able to get to everybody all across the globe and interact with their employees on the go, since they had the mobile apps, right? And then the corporate communications team is able to see things that people shared into that community and gauge their response and kind of keep their finger on the pulse of what's happening in their organization. Finally, the home stream and notifications ensure that employees don't miss out on important messages, regardless of where in the company they are. So these sections, as you know, if you already use Google+, include updates from things that they're already following, as well as smart suggestions for things across the company that they should be aware of, but aren't necessarily following yet. For example, many executives at Google post publicly, restricted to google.com, of course, when they want to communicate with their teams. And this gives them a channel to communicate on a range of subjects that they wouldn't necessarily want to send a full heavyweight email on. The ability for these posts to show up in the home stream and in notifications means that they're able to communicate really directly with a lot of people. I want to change gears momentarily to talk about 2016 for Google+, because we had a really exciting year. Last year, among a number of enhancements, we launched 3 major things, and I'm missing something on here. All right, great. The most important one was missing. Big milestone for us. We launched Google+ as a G Suite core service last August, and we were privileged and excited to join the ranks of products like Calendar and Gmail that are well used and loved by our enterprises. Very exciting for us. We also rolled out the new Google+ web UI to all of our users, including enterprise customers as well as consumers. This new web UI moves really seamlessly from desktop to mobile, really great for employees on the go. It also puts knowledge sharing, specifically through communities and through collections, front and center to help companies make sure that the folks that need to be in the know stay in the know. Finally, we made significant improvements to community moderation. So this was a set of tools that enabled community moderators to take the reins of content coming into their communities. So it included things like the ability to approve every post that comes into your community before it shows up. Really good for communities where you want to lock down the message. Or to individually whitelist users. You may have a set of users who you know are great and should be posting into the community, and another set who you want to review them a little more. So we're excited to have this enhanced suite of community moderation tools. All that said, we firmly believe that this is just the beginning for Google+. You guys have all given us lots of feedback, and we've used that feedback to develop a roadmap for the next year that focuses on the needs of enterprises like yours. So for the first time ever, I'm really excited to today be able to talk about the upcoming roadmap for 2017, what we're going to be launching specifically for enterprises using Google+. And then at this point, our lawyers asked me to remind you that while we strive to meet the timelines that I'm going to talk about and to launch all these features, all this is subject to change without notice. Fine print. Really, the lawyer line gets a laugh. This is when you know you need better jokes. So first, I want to talk about enhancements to knowledge sharing. So Google+ today already provides the ability for your employees to tap into knowledge and expertise from across your organization that they wouldn't otherwise have access to. Over the next year, we'll continue to use Google Smarts to enhance our ability to deliver world-class connectedness and knowledge sharing across your enterprise. For example, by tailoring recommended collections and communities to the things that are most important in your company. This investment in applying Google Smarts to your organization will make it even easier for employees anywhere in your company to find the content, communities, and people that they should be in touch with to be at their most innovative. Well, let's talk about employee engagement. This can be sort of a nebulous subject. You all want employee engagement, but how do you actually know if your employees are engaged or if they're engaged on Google+? Can be tough. So we're excited to announce that we're going to be introducing in the admin console tools that directly allow you to measure the engagement of your employees on Google+. These metrics will allow admins to dig into overall activity in your domain. For example, how many posts are there? How many comments are there? How many +1s? How many folks are active on G+ on any given day? Which communities have the most members? We're also going to give you access to user-level statistics. So who in my company is really active here? Who are the drivers? Who are the opinion leaders? And finally, down the road, we'll also introduce community-level metrics, so you can see engagement in particular communities. Finally, let's talk a bit about secure communication. One thing we've heard from many of you, and especially those in highly regulated industries, is the importance of being able to track user activity at a transaction level. This is like the really detailed stuff, right? This year, we'll introduce an enterprise log API that will allow your company or an authorized partner to track the Google+ activity of specified users in your domain. For example, you'll be able to track in detail which posts did a user make, when did they edit them, which comments did they make, when did they remove or delete those, giving you a full trail of their activity. This one I'm really excited about. In addition to being able to track employee activity, we know many of you would like to have further control over the extent to which your employees are able to interact with the outside world on Google+. We're excited to announce that we're in the process of developing new admin settings that will allow you to select the level of openness that's right for your company. So for this, there are going to be 3 levels of options. The first level, and this is the current setting for all domains using Google+, is what we call public. Public means that all of your users are able to freely interact within your domain as well as outside of your domain. They, of course, still have the ability to control who they share with, such that only people within the domain can see it. They can still lock down communities to within just your domain. But in addition, they have the ability to explore content shared outside of their domain as well as to talk to customers who may be in the outside world, to post on topics in which they're thought leaders. The second option, and this is where we get into what's new, is a discovery mode. So in this mode, users can still see content that's being posted externally. So they're able to see how people are talking about your company, they're able to see what people are posting in your industry, but they're restricted from sharing or commenting externally. This option is potentially useful for folks who maybe shouldn't have a public presence, but still want to be able to stay on top of what's happening outside of your organization. The final option is what we call walled garden. This is the most locked down of the options, and in this mode, users aren't able to see external content in recommendations, in suggestions, in Google+ search, and they, of course, aren't able to post or comment or +1 externally either. Each of these options can be customizable at an OU level. So if you wanted your marketing department to be able to post externally, but thought that R&D would be better served by a discovery mode setting, that's going to be an option that's available to you. Finally, we've heard lots of input from those of you who would like the ability to tighten down security and be sure of who's involved in the conversation, but who still want to be able to collaborate with people outside of your domain. For example, you may want to brainstorm potential ideas with clients. You may want to work with partner teams. You may want to talk to employees in a sister company. To allow you to do that safely and securely, we're introducing multi-domain communities. So these are communities that are domain restricted, but they're restricted to multiple domains. Right? So you can have that secure conversation, be sure that things aren't being leaked, that people outside of the domain aren't being invited, but you're able to do that with the companies that we know you work with in your day-to-day jobs. So securely restricted, but now collaborative too. All right, I know what you've been waiting for. I said we were going to tell you when we were shipping this thing, so I guess I should actually do that. So we'll start by introducing domain-level user metrics in Q2. In Q3, things start to really get real, so you'll see multi-domain communities, user-level usage metrics, and the Google+ Enterprise Log API. And then in Q4, walled garden, which gives you the 3 settings on domain openness, is going to launch. So it's an exciting year for us, and we hope an exciting year for you as well. By helping you break down barriers and share knowledge across your company, engage all your employees, no matter their level or location, and providing secure communications needed to discuss new ideas, we believe Google+ can help your company come together and do more innovative work. And while I'm incredibly excited about all we've been able to accomplish together already, I'm even more excited about what's to come. Your partnership through your trial, your feedback, your drive to push to get even better is helping us improve Google+ and make it even better serve your enterprises. So thank you for that. We're looking forward to unlocking even more innovation in your enterprises together. And thanks everybody for taking the time and choosing to come hear about Google+.